star, went to her shoot in Chicago, and then she came to Los Angeles. She was living in Hollywood and at the mansion. Playboy was huge at that time. Everybody who was anybody was at the mansion. She used to tell me that she was hit on all the time. Everybody that went up there wanted to be with her.
If you drove down the street where the Playboy mansion was situated, you would never imagine, oh my gosh, the stuff that goes on behind those walls. On any given night, lines of Maseratis and Lamborghinis and Ferraris are flowing in and out of the circular drive. And out of these beautiful cars comes the creme de la creme of the celebrity world. And when I say celebrities, I'm not just talking about movie stars or rock stars. There were many people of great stature in Los Angeles, many politicians, many wheelers and dealers, many behind-the-scenes entertainment industry moguls. It was the place, and it was where anything goes.
It was like a whole open house, all the time, 24/7. I kid you not. It was just a whole lifestyle.
When people think of Playboy or like crazy stories from the mansion, it definitely stems from the 1970s. I think even in Hollywood, nobody had seen anything like this before. They would just be like orgies in the grotto and all kinds of crazy things happening upstairs.
When Star first got there, she literally was like a little, you know, flower child. She had this straight blonde hair, very like sensual, beautiful, just stunning. And she was a really good friend, but she also was friends with a lot of the girls in the house, which was unusual because it was a very catty atmosphere. There was a hierarchy, and Star was a playmate, so that made her on the upper level.
I was Hugh Hefner's personal valet from 1978 to 82. We would have a lot of conversations because she found out I was from Maryland and she was from Arkansas. And we would talk about Southern food and things like that. One of the main rules of the mansion was we were not allowed to talk to any of the girls. So it all had to be done in secret in the pantry where the butlers hang out.
So not only is she reaping the rewards of being Miss February Centerfold 1977, she later on becomes Playboy Japan Centerfold of the Year. She must have just been feeling like she was living the life, and she was.
Star was different from the other girls that were living there. She knew she was valuable to the Playboy magazine. She had so many fans from her centerfolds, from her pictorials. I think she knew her power. We had a nickname for her, El Tigre, because she was feisty and she loved that. She was a fighter.
Sometimes when we're young, we feel like we're more invincible than we are. But I don't think there's any way Star could have been prepared for the type of debauchery that awaited her.
The parties were just extravagant, and Star and all the starlets followed Hefner around in the party. It was unreal. I remember Star showed up, I think it was Midsummer Night's Dream Party, with a pacifier and a baby diaper and nothing else. She did what nobody else would do. Star was always at Hefner's table at the time and the era that I was there. She was one of the main beautiful girls.
She and Hef were very close. Hef liked her personality, he liked her body, and being seen with her was good for him too.
In Star's era, a lot was expected. There were definitely a strict set of rules that playmates had to follow.
The rules basically were, you're Hefner's girl, nobody else can have you. If you were Playmate of the Month, that was it. You had to have scheduled sex with Hefner privately 2 days a week.
She was with Gene right at that time, but she told me she had slept with Hef more than once. I think she felt she had to do it if she wanted to continue, because she had heard from other playmates that you really had to sleep with Hef to advance your career. And it wasn't just Hef. Anybody that came there that was important, if they came to her and chose her, then she had to sleep with them. Hef made it very clear to Star that this is what you had to do if you wanted to keep this lifestyle.
Once you're transported into the world of the Playboy Mansion and everything that comes with it, it's a smorgasbord of decadence. So you're in the hot tub with 10 or 12 or 15 other people and nobody's asking any questions. You're moving into the parlor. Part of your job is to also be there to make all the men around you feel good. You have to play the game, whatever that may be. Whatever is happening is what goes, what's accepted. It is beyond decadence. This is drugs and alcohol and partying and, threesomes and all kinds of sex, anything you can imagine.
It was really an indoctrination. You were groomed to be a certain way, and that was your normal. Star would be an ambassador for Hefner and go to the different advertising account executives and do a lot of schmoozing and pleasing the men. And there were a lot of favors. There was always a lot of favors. She was expected to be a plaything. You can't keep that lifestyle up and be okay and wake up and feel good,
At times she was happy as can be and feeling great, and other times she was depressed. I could see it was everything that was being forced upon her. Being forced to sleep with men. She told me, I don't want to sleep with these guys. They're gross. Star was basically advised to take drugs and alcohol because you got to party, and when these people want you, you have to do this. So you increase your alcohol consumption, adding more and more and more until you really don't care what you do.
They had an extensive open bar at all times, and they also had extensive drugs. There was always drugs. There were certain places they would keep the drugs, and Star would go to these places. She knew where to open the box, take out, toot toot, snort snort. Hefner would usually give the girls Quaaludes. That was his thing.
It was a date rape drug, basically, which would make her relaxed and lethargic and really didn't care.
After a year of the fame and the glamour and the fast lane and the sex and the orgies, and it hardens you. She was just in a haze.
Star was really a fish out of water. She was brought into this environment where, if things are starting to go off the rails for her, who's gonna notice? Her family and her friends aren't close by.
Some girls had a certain limitation, and they knew it. Star didn't have that. She didn't know how to stop. She needed to be put in rehab, but that wasn't an option because you can't be normal and straight and live that lifestyle. You have to be out of it to drown out all the hell that you're gonna have to go through on a daily basis.
At one time, she told me, I think I'm addicted to coke because I can't sleep. How do I kick this stuff? I don't know how to go cold turkey. She was feeling really down and depressed. And she told me that a few times she would, just out of the clear blue, start crying and weeping uncontrollably.
It was really hard for her to be in a relationship with Gene because of all the other stuff going on. And Gene was also a womanizer, and he was in the mansion a lot. And I think it was hard for Star because she really wanted him to be all hers.
She had told me a few times that she was having problems with Gene because he seemed to be a purist. Gene always claimed that he never did any drugs. So when he found out that up at the mansion she was doing coke, he was very angry with her. And so she was always torn between Gene's world and Hefner's world, where there were so many drugs.
Who knows what goes on behind closed doors, but it is understood that the relationship became quite difficult. And he eventually moved on.
Star had such a hard time when it was over with Jean. That whole flower child thing kind of disappeared and she became extremely wild, you know, just really out of control. It was really sad to watch.
She woke up after a while and realized that she wasn't getting out of it what she wanted, but Playboy definitely was getting what they wanted out of her. It's too late to change once you get wrapped up in Playboy, especially if they've gotten you addicted to drugs and alcohol. It became a real nightmare.
I don't think Star could have ever imagined in her wildest dreams that her decision to go to Playboy would have a deadly outcome.